Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kong Film Podcast episode. And before I proceed with the live stream, and I just want to say we're only 1 week away from Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire that's going to be released in theaters next week, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I haven't got my ticket yet, but I hear it's gonna be released on a day early on the 28th, and I want to see it like a day early, and I'm really looking forward to it. As yes, yes, they brought back the classic monsters Godzilla, Kong, and new characters Scar King and Shimu, and also Little Kong that's called which name is escapes me. Speaking of Little Kong, in today's episode, we'll be talking about the sequel to the 1933 original film King Kong, Son of Kong, which I have the Blu-ray right here. And we have a special guest here tonight, and he has been in lots of my podcast episodes, and including the one I did on his channel, like 2 weeks ago of the Mighty Kong, which is released a few days ago. Please give it up from Monster Island Film Vault, Nathan. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, I'm having a jolly good time. And by the way, it's Suko.
That's why I thought the little Kong's name is Suko.
Suko in GXK. He's Kiko in tonight's subject. Although they never call him that.
Oh, so his name is Kiko in the original Son of Kong.
Yeah, but they just never call him that. But I have heard that from what I learned in my research on the film, that was the name that people started calling him when they were working on the movie, because it's a portmanteau. It's a combination of King and Kong, Kiko.
Yeah, then I'm glad you got to join me in this episode, because this episode for Son of Kong has been difficult, because I've been trying to search for a guest who will be a guest in this one, because some of them say they've never seen this film, and they haven't seen this film in a long time, and they're not a fan of it. And I've been searching every guest who will join me in this episode, but I am glad you were there for me, because you're my backup.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And I'm even doing this without adult supervision from my intrepid producer, Jimmy from NASA. He's off on a date with his girlfriend or something. We're hanging out. We're still hanging out in Seoul doing our Monster Island World Tour, wrangling escaped kaiju and all that fun stuff. So, he thinks that I can't handle myself without him. Well, he's about to learn he's wrong.
Yeah, or he's been hanging out with Jet Jaguar.
Now Jet's still over on Ogasawara. He's taking care of things while we're gone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, and I just did a podcast episode with you on your channel a few days ago of the Mighty Kong.
Mighty Kong. We recorded it a couple weeks ago for the patrons, and I released a portion of it, the part where we talked about the actual film, the part where you and I did a breakdown of the second GXK trailer. That's exclusive to Patreon.
Yep. And if you want to check out the Nathan's Mighty Kong podcast episode, be sure to click on the link in the description down below.
Oh, thank you. You didn't have to do that. A link in the description. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so I know that the last Kong episode I did on my channel, we talked about the original 1933, and which that episode was almost over 2 hours.
Well, that's because you had 3 other people on. Okay, there were 4 of us. Of course, it went that long. Plus, you had Danny. Danny is the one person who can talk longer than me.
Yeah, I like Danny. He is such an awesome friend. I gotta have him on my podcast more often.
Oh, I'm sure he'll jump at most opportunities that you give him.
Yeah, Well, hopefully in this episode won't be as long like my last one, because we're just talking about Son of Kong.
Yeah,
We-
well, I mean, and it's a pretty short movie. It's only 69 minutes. It's over a half an hour shorter than the original. In fact, it's technically a couple minutes shorter than the Mighty Kong.
yeah,
But
really,
thankfully, Kiko doesn't have six packs.
I can't with the six packs.
Jimmy
Oh,
thought I was very strange for getting for getting obsessed with that.
oh yeah.
And the funny thing is, I'm going to be on the Cellcast next week to talk about Mighty Kong again. Although that I brought on myself because I sponsored it for them because I'm like, guys, please the algorithm gods, because Kong is popular right now, and this is an animated Kong movie. You guys are going to get hits.
uh, well, anyway, so let's get on with the episode. So you all know what to do, because let's start how we discover this film. Let's start with me, the Lizardnator.
The Lizanator. That's funny you say that because there's actually a Power Rangers monster called the Lizanator.
The Lizardnator.
Okay.
Put the cookie down. okay.
We are that is never going away. This is what happens when you do a Jingle All the Way podcast with this man.
If Kong has that accent, he would say, "Put the banana down now." Anyway, so how I first discovered this film, I mean, a few years after I discovered the original 33 Kong film, I mean, that I discovered on VHS on my old local video store in my original state home. I mean, but I think 2 years, or I think it's 2 years. I mean, yeah, 2 years later. I mean, I actually moved down to Georgia. That I moved in 2005, and I went to this my local Blockbuster video store in Georgia, and yeah, that was my first time going to that Blockbuster, and before it was taken down, and and I tried to and I've been trying to find it if they have some more Godzilla DVD movies or Kong films. I mean, and I discover what I've that I didn't know exists is the Son of Kong DVD that I want to rent this, and I want to watch it so bad, and I didn't even know this was a sequel.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even know. I thought it was just some reboot or no, it is a sequel. And when I discovered this was a sequel, how do I know if this is a sequel? Because the same characters and same plot and same music.
Yeah, no Jack or Ann though.
Yeah, no Jack on Ann.
They don't even get mentioned. We don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, I just realized in the film they never did mention and
never mention them. I'm just assuming that the two of them got married and lived happily ever after and had 10 kids or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and so this is how I discovered the film, and then when I watched it, I mean, I realized that Kong's son, it's not like from the original of Kong, but he was made from the same model of the original Kong, the same statue and
the same puppet.
Yeah,
stop motion puppet. Yeah.
Yeah, puppet. That's what I meant. And yeah, and I realized this Kong is so friendly. Yeah, I mean yeah. It's too bad they didn't have the close-up animatronic close-up, but they just used the close-up of the stop-motion figure.
Yeah.
Actually, this Kong is kind of like old, goofy, friendly, and and some cartoonish moments to him.
For sure.
Yeah, and they has added a new sound effect to him.
Oh, what's that?
Like he's always like
Oh, okay, yeah. A new voice.
I don't know if that's like an actual animal sound effect or it's just
Oh,
some dude.
that sounds like an actor to me.
Yeah, I guess that it sounds like an actor doing a dub into.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so let me ask you this: how do you discover this film for the first time?
I discovered this. I knew about this movie well before I ever saw it. You know me. I do lots of research on all of these movies, so I was reading up all this stuff about different kaiju movies, and obviously I knew about the original King Kong, and I remember reading that it had a sequel and it was called Son of Kong, but it was even harder to find than than the original was for me for a while. And I managed to find the original and I watched it, obviously loved it, talked about that in your previous podcast episode. But this one eluded me for a little while. It's just not someone that people like to talk about or watch all that much and things like that. And then I finally saw it. Oh, geez, when did I say it was? I want to say 2016, 2017. It was
Wait,
2017. It was 2017.
wait,
2017 around then.
you discover?
Finally,
So wait, you discovered this film during that year?
I saw it for the first time
Oh, so you
in that
watched
year.
it?
I watched it. I knew of it for a long time. It was just a pain in the neck to find. And yeah, so I watched it in 2017 leading up to my previous podcast life. And then in 2019, I bought my own copy to add not only to add to the film vault, but also to cover it on the podcast. That was actually my second full episode was Son of Kong. It was episode 4. That was a long time ago now. Feels like a
Uh,
long time ago, but that was before 2020.
well, if you want, I don't know if you have the full movie of it, but if you want the full movie, you get the Blu-ray edition.
Oh, I have that.
It's yeah, and it's too bad they don't have special features on the Blu-ray and
Just the
DVD.
trailer.
Yeah,
It's just the trailer. There's just isn't as much interest in this one, which is too bad because I've read a lot of books on it. And some articles and all that, and there's a lot of interesting things that went into it more so than people realize. eh, Largely because this was released. Oh, geez, it was released. I think within 9 months
yeah,
of the first movie.
yeah, because this film was released in the same year
Same
as the
year,
original.
yeah, because the
Yeah,
original came out. It had its New York premiere in March, and this one came out, I believe, in December. I will
yeah,
confirm that.
yeah, yeah, it was released in December.
Yeah, I'm
You're
pretty sure.
correct.
So it was a fast turnaround, and it was done as a cash grab. They're like, well, King Kong is really popular. Throw out a sequel.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
December 22nd, 1933.
yeah, because you this film was actually a rush film to make because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because when I watched this film, you could easily tell that some scenes were being rushed while they're filming.
The special effects, you mean?
I mean, some scenes. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're filming it, and
That's
they're
what I mean is like you're talking about the scenes with special effects, how the special effects look more rushed.
yeah, and yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't know if they do film the special effects while they're filming the live action actors and
Oh, they were. Considering how fast they had to do it, yeah, they probably were.
yeah, I mean, yes, like the reason why they want to do this film so fast because the first film was so
It
popular
was
because
for so popular. Yeah.
it, they recently rushed it to make the finishes by the end of the year to
Yep.
release it in the same year because they want to give the audience fresh their minds of the
Mm-hmm.
original. They want to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because it's the complete opposite practice with sequels nowadays, where it's like, oh, did that movie do really well? Give them more money to make the sequel. And this one, they're like, here's a little bit of money. Go ahead and make something really fast. But then again, sequels were still a very new concept for films at the time. There were sequels to books, obviously, before this, but this was, this was the early days of movies. And so the idea of a sequel movie was still kind of new. Like not even the Universal monsters had started doing that sort of stuff yet. And I think the first real big sequel in that was you had Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, I mean, Son of Kong, it is the first giant monster movie sequels and the
Mm-hmm.
first Son of film.
Yeah, because this predates even like Dracula's Daughter, which was a Universal horror movie. And then there was a lot of Son of something or other. Eventually, we got a Son of Godzilla. There was a Son of Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually, to draw even more parallels, Godzilla did the same thing over 20 years later. One really popular movie, they cranked out a cash grab sequel inside of a few months, and we got Godzilla right again.
Yeah, and I just realized if you saw the film Jim Carrey's The Mask, they made a Son of the Mask,
Son of the Mask. Yeah.
which is a terrible Son of sequel.
I skipped that one. I've just seen clips of it, and I'm like, you know what? No thanks.
Yeah, and
no thanks.
Yeah, and it is. Yeah, because no wonder this film is not a good Kong film because they are so rushing. They're so in a rush to make this. I mean they have. I mean, the Gamera films they did the same thing too. I mean,
they cranked them out about one a year.
Yeah, I mean, Gamera versus Barugon, which is an episode that I did the last time, and is that this film was released, I think, 5 months after the original.
It was longer than that.
No, the original Gamera film was released on November 29th, is it?
Yes, yes, I know that because I did celebrate Gamera Day.
Yeah, and then Gamera versus Barugon was released on April 5th, I think, 1966.
Here I am double checking this. This is why I normally let Jimmy do it. Let me see. Gamera versus Barugon, April 17th, 1966. And let's see. Can I easily get to the other one? Yes. Okay. You are correct. 5 months. Dang.
Yep.
Didn't realize it was that fast.
Yeah. They really need to take sequels slowly. They just need to take time. I mean,
not necessarily, and I actually think that Son of Kong is underappreciated.
Yeah, I mean,
it can't hold a candle to the original. Let me preface that, but most things can't. That was peak King Kong, and every King Kong movie since then has been chasing it, and some of them do a pretty good job chasing it, but none of them reach the same levels. So I feel like it's unfair to say that this movie is terrible just because it's not the original movie. Yeah. I think if you take it on its own merits, it's a fun little romantic adventure, and I like it for that reason. I like seeing these characters again. No one can agree if her name is Hilda or Helen. Depending on who you talk to, the girl's name is Hilda or Helen, which is funny because I believe the actress's name, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the actress's name for Hilda is also Helen, which just makes it even more confusing.
And she is the new Kong lady in this one.
Yeah, but she's very different from Anne. She's
Yeah,
very different from Ann Darrow. She's more like a mom
yeah.
to him. Yeah, Helen Mack. Helen Mack. But her stage name, because she's a musician, her
Yeah,
stage name is La Belle Helene.
yeah. She's playing
Ooh.
the ukulele guitar thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I disagree with Denim a little bit there, and all the rest of the guys in that
Yeah.
in that bar, because they're like, oh, she's got personality, but she can't sing. I'm like, I've heard worse singers.
Whatever, whatever time you watch her like playing the ukulele and sings. I mean, and some scenes, she kind of reminds me of Snow White.
Actually, you know who she reminds me of?
Who?
But it's more just because of how her voice sounds. Judy Garland.
Judy. From Dorothy.
The Wizard of Oz, yeah. Every time I hear her talk, I have to tell myself that's not Judy Garland. But you have to understand, I have seen The Wizard of Oz so many times. I could probably recite it line for line, because it's one of my mother's favorite movies. So I grew up watching it a lot.
It's one of my dad's favorite too, and
as it should be, because it is a classic and always will be.
Yeah, like maybe I should do a podcast episode about the Wizard
Why
of
not?
Oz.
Yeah, why not? But to go back to Son of Kong, like I said, I think it's underappreciated. The screenwriter, who well, I guess you could say co-screenwriter. Did you know actually, King Kong and this movie were co-written by a woman?
Yeah,
Ruth Rose, and she said, when asked about writing the sequel to this, and her line was, and I think this is very applicable to not only to this film, but to a lot of other sequels, which is, if you can't go bigger, go funnier.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this movie is. It is nowhere near as big and epic as King Kong is, but dang it if it ain't funny.
Yeah. I mean, Mary C. Cooper and this other guy who
Schoedsack. Ernest Schoedsack.
Shostak, they came back to produce and direct this film, and also Wilson Bryan is back to do the stop motion.
They do the stop motion. He wasn't as involved in this one. It was his assistant who did a lot of the stuff. He was supervising more than he was animating. He was upset with some things that happened on the previous movie. He butted heads a lot with Marion C. Cooper. So the rumor has it.
Yeah.
Rumor has it he actually found a way to take out his frustrations in this movie, kind of secretly.
Really?
Yeah, you know the scene when Hilda and Denim are patching up Kiko's finger after he is it the cave bear? Is that the cave bear?
I think it is the cave.
It is the cave bear. That one's the cave bear. After he fights the cave bear, and it's his middle finger, and he keeps sticking it out a little bit more than the other fingers.
Really?
Yeah, if you pay attention, I'm like, even when I watched it the first time, I'm like, is he flipping them off? It actually prompted me when I did my MIFV episode on that. I actually looked it up. I was like, when was this obscene gesture invented? And I found out actually it may have started as early as the 1880s. So technically it was around.
So wait, I think I know what you're talking about. You talk about when Baby Kong got hurt
on his middle finger, and they're putting a bandage on it. They're bandaging him up, and story has it that that Brian O'Brien, because he was so upset with Marion C. Cooper, that he did that as like his little way of getting back at them. Like, I'm saying, this is me saying I hate you, right? I have no idea if it's true, but it's hilarious if it is. Because that was Willis O'Brien was a very rough and tumble kind of guy.
Yeah, and I did hear that. I think I don't know if it's true. I think that his wife would like murder one of his kids.
And then killed herself. Yeah. That was
Yeah,
later on. That was later on. It's very tragic.
yeah, and that was so sad. And I want to talk about the creatures in this. I mean, I know the original film had dinosaurs in it, the brontosaurus, the stegosaurus, and the meat
Mm-hmm.
eater or T-Rex, whatever you want to call it,
It's a
pteranodon.
T-Rex.
Yeah. But in this film, it's starting to have some less dinosaurs in it.
Yeah, well, that's because it was a little more rushed, so they didn't have as much time or as much money to do stuff. However, it's interesting because there are actually some leftover ideas that they wanted to have in the original movie. They just threw in here, like the Triceratops.
Yeah,
Triceratops was
uh,
originally supposed to be
the
in.
Styracosaurus.
Yeah, yeah, it was originally supposed to be in the first film, didn't make it, and the dinosaur stampede was supposed to be in the original movie, but they used it here instead. And then famously, Peter Jackson had it in his.
Eh, yeah, so yeah, they actually used they were gonna have the Styracosaurus in the original. They, like you said, Peter Jackson used it in his own version and
Mm-hmm.
in the special features. But I don't know if that's like the same Styracosaurus that Peter
It is.
Jackson.
No, that's not the same one that Peter Jackson used, but it is the same one that Willis O'Brien had for the original King Kong.
Yeah, I would say is this the same model that they have?
No, they made a new one. They scanned the original because I believe, if I remember correctly, I think Peter Jackson does have the original, but he just keeps it as part of his collection, but they did scan it with the computers so they could make a new one.
And I gotta check out one of those original Willis O'Brien's dinosaur models from the film, and because they look so awesome and all that, and yeah, I like the way how the Styracosaurus chase after the three guys, and
Mm-hmm.
he just yeah, he keeps charging them into when they're hiding in that little cave, and he's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and also I think they reused some of the models for the the brontosaurus on the yes when he was when Little Kong's fighting with him in the cave and there were the treasurers and yeah. I mean, they remodeled that. I mean,
That wasn't. I don't think that was a brachiosaur. That was.
no,
Pretty
that
sure.
I say I don't know what kind of creature that is, but it's like
I'm gonna look it up because one cool thing is that Wikizilla will list everything.
yeah, and I think if I'm mistaken, I think they used the same sound effect for that creature. That was the same sound effect from the meat eater, the T-Rex.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Styracosaurus, like you said. Brontosaurus. It says it is a. No, that's okay. No, that's the sea serpent is the thing that shows up at the end and grabs Hellstrom.
Yeah.
No, that is just called just called dragon.
Dragon.
That's all. Yeah.
Wow. There's a Dragonsaurus. That's what it should have been called.
Maybe it's just called dragon. Okay. I don't know why it's just called that.
Yeah, and it does have a cougar sound effect or a panther, a leopard.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, and then so the creatures that appear in this are Kiko, the cave bear, Styracosaurus, the dragon, the sea serpent, Brontosaurus, and King Kong, but only because there's a poster for him.
Yeah, I say the Brontosaurus was in this one, but he only appears at the end during the earthquake. And
my gosh, I feel so sorry for Skull Island because it gets hit by about 3 natural disasters all at once: a volcano, an earthquake, and a hurricane. No wonder it sank.
Yeah, kind of like Atlantis.
Yeah, it's so bonkers, which is why I find it funny that Marion C. Cooper tried for years to make more Kong sequels, and I'm like, how? You sank the island.
Yeah,
What were you gonna do?
and I love the effects on how they made all the land sank in the water, all the waves,
That
and
was impressive. Have you, out of curiosity, have you ever seen the 1925 Lost World?
yeah, the silent film.
Yeah, the silent film.
Yeah, I did see it.
Okay, I was wondering. I'm impressed, actually.
I
Not a lot of people have seen it, but that one was also done by Willis O'Brien, and it has a destruction scene kind of like that, where there's a volcanic eruption.
yeah, and I did you know there was a sound fan edit version of this?
Really?
Yeah, that I saw it on YouTube. There's someone edited the video with some sound effects and sound edited, like, and they actually add voices of the characters and sound effect of dinosaurs
To the Lost World or Son of Kong?
to the Lost World.
Oh, Lost World. Okay, well let's get back to Son of Kong.
Yeah. And maybe if I do a Lost World 1925 podcast, I'll do that one.
That would be fun. You should also have Ryan the Omni Viewer on.
Ah,
That's who I had on for my podcast episode on the Lost World. We had a good time.
yeah. Anyway, back to Son of Kong. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I want to know like who came up with the idea for the island sink. I mean,
Apparently Ruth Rose, because she wrote the screenplay.
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah, I bet she does this so she wants this film to be the last one, and then
I don't know. Maybe they probably just did it because they wanted something exciting for the end, which is why it just comes out of nowhere.
and the Skull Island natives they just fell into the whole like.
It actually upset me a little bit. Just seeing them apparently drown, and it was really upsetting seeing poor Kiko drown.
Yeah, yes, I just love the special effects and how Cinco and and Denim is like are trapped in the cave and then yes, uh, and I think the cave's the only thing left and there's nothing left on the island. All it left is that rock that they're on and the rock's starting to sink and
Mm-hmm.
they're starting to climb on top. I mean, and I love how Cinco's like turns around and asks Carl to climb up and yeah, and his foot is trapped inside a rock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed when he was doing his sound effect like "Roar, roar." I don't know if it's true, but you can. I think in my head, I for a moment I thought he was saying like "mommy." I thought he was saying "mommy."
Oh no, we don't know who his mother is. I have a fan theory.
Yeah,
I have a fan theory. I believe that poor Mrs. Kong was killed by dinosaurs shortly after Kiko was born, which is why Kong hates dinosaurs.
yeah, yeah, and it's it's so sad that I think Chico died at the end by drowning. I mean, but he does grab Denim and he just raise him up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I felt bad for Kiko, and it's so amazing that he saved Denim's life. I mean, he died, but I think that's the way he has sacrificed himself to save Denim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he was returning the favor to Denham because Denham helped him. And Denham felt like he had to do it because he owed something to his old man.
Yeah, and then I like the way when the bow made it turn to people grab him and put it on the boat, and then his Cinco's hand let go, and then he just does this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when he does that, it's almost like that he's already dead.
Yeah, not really, but I see what you mean.
And get this, Nathan, get this. I just thought of this in my head. They should have done this in the film. I mean, it's kind of like a little references, but way, way before it. After Cinco let goes of denim, and he puts them on the bowl, and when he's been to his hand begin to sink, but he should have made this sign.
I was wondering if you were going to go there. Because James Cameron saw this movie because that was very Terminator 2.
Yeah, and then I just wish they should have done
it. Oh my gosh, that's that part of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
It almost makes me cry. And
they should have done that in the film, but way before Terminator.
Well, they would have. They probably wouldn't have even known to do it because the thumbs up, as we understand it, it was actually dates all the way back to ancient Rome, but we didn't start using it like we do now until World War II.
Wow.
Which would have been 10 years after this. And it was originally because when fighter pilots were getting ready to take off, they would go like this to signal that they were going to take off.
Yeah. So, like, I know we talked about this earlier that they're going for a rush in this film. I mean, in the opening, they use some of the different music style and the same stock music from the original, and I mean, they never done this in the original film before. After the credits, they actually show the pictures of the cast.
I know, it's like watching a sitcom. Like the theme song to a sitcom where they're like, so and so as so and so. It was like that. It was weird.
And you know that the Chinese actor in this one, his name is Charlie, is it?
Yes, that's the cook's name.
Yeah, but in the credits, his name is this as the Chinese cook, but he's never mentioned name Charlie.
Yeah, which that's unfortunate, but they actually credited him. If you look at the credits for the original movie, he doesn't have a credit anywhere. His name is Victor Wong. He's nowhere in there. But here they actually give him a credit. Yeah, they don't mention the character's name, which is unfortunate, but they still give him a credit. That was very ahead of its time. It's the same thing like with Noble Johnson, who played the native chief. They gave him a credit in the original movie, and now they're giving Victor Wong here a credit. And I gotta say, Charlie's one of my favorite characters in this movie. I love Charlie in this. I know some people think like, oh, he's such a racist stereotype. You're telling me that there weren't Chinese people in New York in the early 30s who were like Charlie? I'm sure there were plenty. They've just immigrated from China over to, I'm assuming he's Chinese, but he's just immigrated to New York City, has barely a dime to his name, and he just takes a job as a cook on a ship to make a little bit of money and pursue the American dream. And he's still got a thick accent, still learning English. This all makes perfect sense to me. He's so funny in this. He has my favorite line in the entire movie, which is after he gets put into the boat and they're shoving off, and he's mad at the mutinous crew members, and he just says something like, "No, cook, you die soon." It's so
funny. Speaking of funny, I want to get to the funny to this hilarious scene soon. There are lots of new cast in there. When we already talked about the chief, and they brought back the witch doctor. It was the other native.
Oh, you mean the chief?
Yeah, there's the other guy who was pointing to Anne.
Okay.
He's back in that. I don't know if you notice.
Not as much. That's a pretty eagle-eyed observation there. I hadn't quite noticed that myself. Nice job. But obviously I knew about Noble Johnson because he comes out and he talks to everybody, and they're not happy with him either. They're like, you let Cog free, and he wrecked our village.
Yeah, like after they,
I would think they'd be angry. They're like, you took our god away. I would like to know what they were doing in the 6 months since then. Like, you took our god away.
Yeah, and Yeah, so like the natives were mad at them because they brought Kong into the village and destroyed half of it. And
Hmm.
anyway, so I like I know after the opening credits they just shot of a poster of Kong, uh, of Carl Denham's giant monster, and but there's no stock footage or flashbacks at the end of the first. No, they just shows Carl Denham being hide in his own house or some friend's apartment.
It's at a house.
Yeah, I mean, I guess say he's hiding because people are suing him for the damages
I know,
of
which is
Kong.
so funny. He's getting there suing him. That is a very modern thing to do. Sue the guy who brought the monster over.
Yeah, I mean, there should be an angry mob out there saying, "Man, my house was destroyed because of your giant gorilla."
If they had a little more time and money, they might have done that. But it gives Denham a good motivation for wanting to start over, get a new job. He basically becomes Englehorn's first mate, so they can just take odd jobs moving freight in the boat on the Venture, the same boat from the first movie. And when he finds out, oh, there's a treasure on Skull Island, which I totally made up, but it totally turned out to be true. Well, how convenient.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I know this film. In the film, it took place 6 months later. Am I
It
correct?
started about a month after the first movie, and then they fast forward a few more months.
And yeah, because hmm, yeah, I just like the way that Denham's hiding it because of the people are suing him. I mean,
And he
and
sneaks up by putting a bucket on his head.
I gotta say, like, and I always thinking about this, like, whatever happened to Kong's body after he fall off the Empire State Building?
I don't know. And it's not important.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, a friend of mine who uh, thought of this. I mean, after Kong falls off the Empire State Building, I mean, he said that the people they just cut him up and cooked him and served many pieces of meat of him and served.
Ew.
I
Ew.
don't know if it's true.
That's
What
that's that's messed up.
I don't know that we never heard what happened to Kong's body.
Yeah, I don't think they would have fed it to people. But pardon me for interrupting, but we do have a few comments in the chat.
Yeah, we have Cody the banana. What's
I,
up? And
I don't know who Cody the banana is, but apparently he loves me.
aw, why can't people love me? And
Oh,
we have LHN97. It is
yeah. He says, "Hello, Nate. How's it going?" And
uh,
then a minute later says, "Sayonara." So I guess he's leaving.
aw, yeah.
If you guys are still in the chat, say hi.
um, like yes. So anyway, like let's talk about the villain in this one, Hellstrom.
Hellstrom.
I mean, he
What a scallywag.
yeah, and he's also a fraidy cat, and he's a
And a drunk.
yeah, and he is the guy who gave Denham the map to Skull Island.
Which is really weird. He must have that Hellstrom must have gotten it from what was it? What did Denham say in the first movie? It was like some random sailor. Can't remember what, like he was Norwegian or something like that. Like he got it from. I think they've tried to retcon it since then and say like, oh, Hellstrom got it from that other sailor and gave it to Denham or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I heard. I mean,
Yeah, so it's a little bit weird, but it creates a nice connection that they can build off of. Because this is very much a sequel to the original movie. It's using the characters, it's following up on things that happened, it's expanding on some stuff that happened in the previous movie while also being its own story. Because this is a really different story compared to the original film.
yeah, and yeah, because this film's a lot different, and it is. I say this film is kind of more focused on the human characters.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't get to Skull Island until about, I think I timed it. I think it's like 38 minutes in, and it's a 69-minute movie. And then Kiko doesn't even show up until 42 minutes in. So he doesn't show up for about the same amount of time as his old man, but he's in a shorter movie.
Yeah, and I wanted to get back to Hellstrom. I mean,
Mhm.
there is this one funny scene when he was at a table with Hella's father, who was also an alcoholic, who was drunk.
They were both drunk.
Yeah, and then Hellstrom gets angry. He just bought him on the head, and then the tent's starting to get fired.
Yeah, it's because they knocked a lamp over
Yeah,
and it caught the thing on fire.
yeah. I don't know. Was it light bulbs invented that back then,
Oh yeah, no,
or
the light bulbs have been invented. It's just that they were in a part of the world where you're not gonna have electricity.
yeah? I mean, yeah. Then, but one of my favorite scenes in this is the monkey show. They have a little monkeys, like
That
uh
is such a weird scene.
yeah.
The first time I watched it, I'm like, what is this? What
Yeah,
is
that's not
going on? Is this supposed to be like some weird kind of microcosm symbolism or something? Because I don't understand what's
I
going on. It also felt like it went on a lot longer than it really is. Since then, when I've watched it, it doesn't. It's only 2 minutes, I think, but it felt longer the first time I saw it. I don't know why. Probably because I'm just like, what even is this? This is weird.
Yeah, even when I watched the scene, I was like, I laughed so hard at this. I was like, what am I watching?
It's just bizarre. It's
They,
probably the weirdest scene in the movie.
yeah, and I just like it when the monkey is patting the drum and he just stops for a
Hey,
moment
we're
and
the
he's just like,
monkeys.
blah,
Hey,
blah,
we're
blah,
gonna monkey
blah.
around. So you better get ready. Okay, come on. It's the most obvious joke ever.
and
Okay.
I love
Yeah.
and I love the part when the monkeys pause for a moment and he just did like
That was the weirdest part of the already weird scene because I'm like,
that
what?
is like
What? Wait, can you imagine being Marion C. Cooper and just saying, "Hey, where can we get ourselves a monkey band?" Sure, sure, Marion. We'll get that for you, Coop. I think that's what people call him, Coop. Like, sure, Coop, we'll do that for you. I get it for
yeah,
me right now. And then they
yeah.
somehow found a monkey. Where do you find a monkey? Do you put an ad in the newspaper saying "wanted chimpanzee band"?
Ma-
And then the crazy part is someone actually responded. So I got you a chimpanzee band.
Yeah, yeah. When the monkeys sit out, I mean, they should have named that band. Get this, the Monkeys.
I already made that joke.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean,
hey, we're the
I mean,
monkey.
like I'm talking. You ever heard of? I'm talking about a real life band. It was like almost a
Yeah, I
like
made
a.
that joke already. I sang one of their songs. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys. That's one of their songs.
um, I don't really, and believe believe me, Nathan. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Beatles or the Monkeys or
Oh, I'm
whatever.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm just not a Beatles fan. I mean, believe me, my mom is a huge Beatles fan.
Because your mom has good taste.
uh, and I love it when when the when they clap. I mean, Denim is the only one that's clapping, and
Yeah.
then I love the one when one monkey is doing this, and then it's almost like he's blowing a kiss on Denim.
That is that. Okay, now you're getting weird, sir.
Oh, I gotta rewatch that scene.
It's a very Brendan sort of scene.
Yeah, or I should have a band called the Lizards.
Oh, there you go. The lounge lizards. the lounge lizards. Yeah. How's Jeff doing, by the way?
Anyways, believe me, Nathan. I mean, my lizard doesn't really have a name.
Wait, yeah, but we gave him a name on our show on the episode we did. We called him Jeff.
Well, I'm sorry, call him Autistic Lizard Pro
Okay.
or Lizard Pro for short.
Okay.
I mean, that's what people used to call me before you blew
okay.
my undercover name.
Oh, I blew it. I did.
Yeah, Autistic Lizard Pro is my undercover name. If you could tell,
Oh
my name is
no.
right there.
Oh no. I blew his cover. Oh
Uh,
no. No, Doctor Who is going to come and get you.
well, back to the film. I mean,
It's a different King Kong movie.
yeah, I mean, and it's so sad at how Hellstrom just beats up his father. That I mean, I don't know if their actual home is a tent that they just burned down, or they just.
Well, it was they were living in it. Yeah, it was also where they made their money because they mentioned that Hilda's dad used to run a circus.
It's so sad that her father died, and then now she's an orphan, and then
Mhm.
Dedham comes along, and he almost brings her along, and
Yeah, they have a sweet little love story. I actually like it.
yeah, I love this when how she asked Dedham saying, "Have you ever catch a monkey? Have I ever?" Yeah, you'll be surprised.
Can you be surprised? Oh my gosh, yeah, some of that stuff early on. You know, there's a part of me that wishes that we could have had Hilda meet Anne. I like to think that that
Yeah, I
that
just wish.
Hilda and Denham went on a double date with Anne and Jack, and because I would just love to see what would happen if Hilda met Anne, and they're talking about like. I was like, oh man, Kong took me up on the top of the Empire State Building. Oh, he did. Oh, I made his son, and his son loves me.
Oh my god! I just thought if they would have if Kinko survived, I mean, he was climbing on the boat with them. I mean, if they would have brought Kong Sung back and then an Anne saw him, I mean, she would have totally freaked out. Oh my god! I just wish they could have done that.
Yeah, that would have been exciting. You know what's kind of funny?
What?
When after Peter Jackson released his movie, he actually made what was it? Was it an actual like trailer or something? Like he made like a little behind the scenes thing where he said he was going to make a sequel and it was going to be called Son of Kong.
Yeah, that's
And
what I heard.
he was going to have Kiko. And here's the cool part. And I'm upset that this is not real. It would have been taken place during World War II, and his version of Kiko would have been fighting Nazis in Europe. And I'm like, yes! Son of Kong versus Hitler. Give it to me, Peter Jackson. And it never happened, and I'm upset.
Yeah,
That would have been so cool.
Yeah, I just wish Peter Jackson. I mean, back then when I first saw King Kong, the Peter Jackson version, when I saw this film for the first time, I was hoping they were going to make a Son of Kong to this film, since I bought the triple DVD pack that I got from Christmas, along with King Kong, Son of Kong, Mighty Joe Young, the original,
Dang.
not the Disney remake. In fact, maybe I should do a podcast episode comparing to the original and the Disney remake of Mighty Joe Young.
Mighty Joe Young? That'd be fun. I've done the original Mighty Joe Young, but I haven't done the remake yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch the Disney remake that much. I mean, I think I only saw it 5 times.
I've only seen it once.
But I only seen the original because the original is a classic.
Oh, it is. No argument there.
Yeah, but this is Son of Kong. I mean,
This is Son of Kong. Yeah.
yeah, I was hoping that Peter Jackson will make a sequel to this film and Son of Kong, but never happened.
It didn't happen, which is too bad because that's probably one of the coolest ideas that I've heard for a Kong story in a long time. I know there's a comic book that's coming out, at least it was for a while, that's called Kong the Great War that takes place during World War One.
Wow.
Yeah, where I think it was a bunch of World War One soldiers somehow end up on Skull Island and they're just trying to survive on the island, which is fine, but Kiko fighting Nazis. Picking fights with Panzer tanks. That would be so cool. Like he just runs up to a Panzer tank and like rips the turret off and beats it with it. It would have been great.
And I want to say a few things about Kiko. I mean, he became friends with Carl Dedham. There was this one moment that he did. He just did this pose like,
which you can get a GIF of that. There is a GIF.
Yeah, he's done that. It kind of gives a little cartoonish moment. I just laugh at this. I mean,
like I said, if you can't go bigger, go funnier.
Yeah, I didn't. And also, I just realized if you've seen the movie Rampage that's starring the Rock Johnson, I know there is another giant ape in there, and George.
Yeah.
And also, I noticed that his fur is all white. I mean,
because they're albinos.
They should call him the White Ape.
Yeah, like I said, they're both albinos.
Yeah, George is the White Ape. I mean,
now that I think about it,
but
not only are both George and Kiko albino, they both flip people off.
Yeah, because both Kiko and George in Rampage have both of their furs are white. I mean, yeah. I don't know I know Son of Kong is in black and white. I don't know Kiko's fur is all tan or white.
No, it's white. It's white.
Yeah,
because he's albino.
I guess both George and Kiko are the white apes. Mm-hmm. Good thing it's not like George of the Jungle style. It's like, I told you there weren't no white ape. Wow. I love that.
That was a reference. Although it should be noted, George was doing sign language as a kaiju gorilla before Kong was.
Oh yeah, the sign language, and don't mention what sign language he did at the end.
That's what I mean. Both Kiko flips people off, and so does George.
Yeah. And wow, we almost have an hour. We almost have an hour to go, and so I mean, to be honest, I mean, have you any more thoughts about this film?
Well, like I said, there's I think it's an underappreciated movie. I really do. I find it's very entertaining, and I'm just trying to think what are some specifics I could latch onto. We've talked a lot about the special effects, the fight scenes, particularly the one with the bear. That speaking of The Rock, that was Full Tilt Pro Wrestling, man. I mean, come on. Come on. Yeah, Kiko's literally putting the bear in a headlock and punching it in the head.
Yeah. And you could tell that he was actually smiling.
I got you now. Although, weirdly enough, I think he only, out of all the critters he fought, I think he only killed one of them. The bear just ran away.
Yeah.
That was a big joke. Like, every time he was like, ha, I win. And then it would get up and try to bite him. He goes like, no. And then it would punch it again. Try to make sure it's dead. But the dragon was the worst one. That little jerk. That little jerk. Did you see what he did? He played dead. Like, he's like, ugh. And then Kiko does what his dad does and plays with the jaw. He's like, ha, he's dead. And then the thing's like, no, I'm not. And then bites him. Then Kiko punches him again. And then he was dead. I'm like, Kiko, Have you not seen Zombieland? Double tap.
uh, yeah, I mean, and also about Denim and Helda, and I mean, they Denim does race her after her father's death. I mean, but at the end, they start to get a little romance at the end after they
Yep.
got rescued.
Which that all just flows very nicely. I actually like how their love story is set up because it just makes sense. Where he kind of takes a liking to her, but he's like, I'm probably not going to do anything because I need to run around and she shouldn't get involved with me because everyone wants to sue me in New York and things like that. And her father has died and she needs, another man to keep her safe, even though she's clearly feisty. Like she walked up to Hellstrom and she's like, I know you killed my dad. Arguably he wasn't trying to kill him. It was manslaughter at worst because he just bopped the guy on the head with a bottle and he just happened to die. I don't think he was trying to kill the man, but still,
Yeah.
I know you killed my dad and I'm going to tell the magistrate and you're going to get in trouble. I'm like a tattletale, but it's legitimate.
I like the way
She's brave. She's much braver than Anne. Like she just stood right up to this guy and just
yeah.
he's like, I'm going to tell the magistrate. And then what does she do? She sneaks onto the boat.
As a stowaway.
Because as a stowaway because she's like, Carl, take me with you. And Carl's like, no, kid, I can't do that. And then she just sneaks onto the boat. And Carl's just like, holy mackerel, what am I going to do now?
And I just noticed, I mean, and when she screams at few scenes, I mean, they actually use some of Anne's scream sound effects to her.
Why not? They probably had, I think they had so many of those probably on file at that point. They're just like, just keep using them.
Yeah.
Tell Helen she doesn't need to scream for us. We got plenty from Fay Ray.
Yeah. I like the way when the sailors who kick the crew members out of the ship and they throw Hellstrom off and because they don't need captains.
We don't need no stinking captain. Well, you have fun. You have fun with your ship of anarchists. I'm gonna tell you right now. I have a sneaking suspicion that the Venture, because they're like, we don't need no stinking captain. That those guys never could get their acts together, and the Venture was just lost at sea forever. They never ever got back.
And to be honest, Nathan, I mean, I think that's all I have to say about this film. I mean, yeah, we're just
okay. Lynn, I guess we can do some quick final thoughts here. You're the host of the show, so I'll let you go first.
Like one of my final thoughts about this film. I mean, this film is not as good as the original. I mean, because they did go through a rush to make this film. I mean, it's not like it's not into the people who non-Kong fans who they say this movie's bad, but some fans they say it's good. I mean, but some people say it's a fun movie but the original is a big blockbuster hit but to me I give this film like 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10? Aw. 5 out of 10. I mean, this wasn't a flop. It made money. I'm going to double check just to be sure. Yeah, it made money. It cost $269,000 to make it. It made $616,000 at the box office.
Yeah, and
so it wasn't a flop. Now that's nowhere close. That's not as much as the original movie, but like I said, I like it. I think it's underrated and underappreciated. Is it the original movie? No, but most things are not the original movie. Yeah. Let's be honest, Brendan. Most movies are not the original King Kong. Good luck competing with that. I mean, like there are precious few that I think can come close to it. And I can tell you what at least 2 of those are. Still processing the third one, but the other 2 that I would put on the same level as the original King Kong would be the original Godzilla and Gamera 3. that tells you the standard that that movie set. So does it have to be the original movie? No, it doesn't. I think this movie succeeds on its own merits, and it's unfair to compare it to the original. If you want to compare it to the original, you're going to be disappointed. If you look at it as its own movie that is a continuation of the first one,
It,
and you let it you meet the this film on its own terms, I think you're going to have a good time with it. It's breezy, it's a little weird, but it's fun, and you get to see a lot of the characters from the first film again. You get to see some more Willis O'Brien special effects, even though they're not nearly as polished as the original movie. I get it, but it's still good stuff. And I hope that through our podcast episode and my original podcast episode, that more people will watch this and come to appreciate it.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, to me, it's a fine film. I mean, and I remember when I got the triple DVD package that I got. I mean, I thought that Mighty Joe Young is a sequel to Son of Kong, but no, it's not.
Not. I would call it a spiritual sequel, not a literal sequel.
I mean, it does have Robert Armstrong
Robert
in it,
Armstrong is in, and
but
that fact, actually, that's something I forgot to mention. Did you know actually Robert Armstrong preferred Son of Kong to the original?
really,
Yeah, because he felt like he got to do more with Carl Denham as a character in this
yeah,
one than he did in the original. He got, because there's Carl is more fleshed out as a character in this. So he said he had more fun doing this movie as an actor than the original.
yeah. That's how I noticed. I mean, he is in Mighty Joe Young, but his character is
He's a different
different.
character. Yeah, it's a different character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I gotta say that the mustache on him in this and Mighty Joe Young kind of fits him.
it does. It does. You should totally do a Mighty Joe Young
Yeah, I
podcast.
should.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's all I had to say about this episode. So until next time, I mean, until I do some more Kong episodes or Mighty Joe Young or other.
Hey, you got the new Empire next week. So
Yeah, I don't
clearly
know.
you're going to be doing an episode for that. But just real quick, I got to do my shameless self promotion because everyone, they know about your channel. Go check out the Monster Island Film Vault, as I've been name dropping here, where, it's a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. We talk a lot about kaiju films and some non-kaiju tokusatsu, and my first season was all about King Kong. So go back and check those out. I've also covered the entire Gamera franchise. I'm just making my way through the Godzilla franchise. This man right here made his first ever MIFV appearance talking about his favorite Godzilla film, Emperor Horror of the Deep, at which we had a good time
My
with
favorite
that one.
one.
Yeah, your favorite one. Yeah, and we had a good time with that one, especially since I remember even telling you, it's like, Brendan, you're the we had two other people on the podcast with us, like, Brendan, you're the only other Godzilla fan here. Help me. Yeah. And then also check out my other podcast, Henshin Men, which is about Henshin Hero television shows, and The Power Trip, a journey through the Power Rangers franchise that I co-host with Michael Hamilton. That's all about Power Rangers. And I'm hoping to do a spin-off / reboot / sequel to both of those a little bit later in the year. And check out my author website, nathanjsmarchand.com, where you can learn more stuff about all the books and such that I have published, including a kaiju novella called Destroyer. And I'm also a contributing writer to the Kaiju United website, speaking of writing.
Jacob. And yeah, so thanks for sharing that, Nathan. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Kaiju podcast episodes coming soon.
You could tell this man is a professional YouTuber. Look at that. Look at that. He's got the like and subscribe for more. You know what you're doing, sir.
Yep. So until next time, as I say it in Japanese. Oh wait, this is an American film. Yeah, as I say it in, because Kong is an American film. As I say it in English, bye bye everybody.
See you later.